Okay. I think we start. It's 8:05 and there's quite a bunch of you. So hello and good evening, everybody. I'm Alex Freund. I'm the trumpet professor at Georgia State University, at the School of Music of Georgia State University in Atlanta. And so it's a big pleasure to be part of this series of master classes that Georgia State University organizes with many areas of the School of Music, including, oh, there comes my colleague. This is Bill Mann, is the trombone professor at GSU. And so there's a series of master classes, not just of music performance, also research and music education and so on. Hi, Bill. We're just doing the introduction to the opening. And people come in. And yeah, so today we do a brass masterclass, and this is a wonderful initiative for me to get to know you, for you to get to know me a little bit about Georgia State University and what I think about what we do. So it's always quite a challenge to talk about so many things I would like to talk about in so little time. So basically the idea of this masterclass is to touch certain things and bring the spark over so that you do the follow-up, that you go home, I mean, you probably are home, and think like, wow, what was that? And then you heard that, Google it. So you Google it, you heard something and that caught your attention, and then you look into this. I will talk about trumpet, certainly, but I will probably talk more about music in general. I want to talk a little bit about our body and our mind. And I also will talk a little bit about Georgia State University. I know that some of you I know, and some of you I don't know yet, but I know who you are, have applied to study at Georgia State University. Others might think about it. Others might not have thought about it at all. And it is okay. So the cool thing about this class, and this is the advantage of our times with all this technology, is we have some people here from Georgia, some people from Atlanta, some people from South and North Georgia, some people from Mexico, some people from Brazil, some people from Puerto Rico, and this is pretty cool. So I'm Alex Freund. I'm from Germany, as you can hear with probably from my charming accent. I worked on that accent for 29 years, living in Germany. Then I make it very short what's about me, because this is not about me today. So I studied music. My mom was an opera singer. My dad was a pianist. So somehow I got that spark from early age on, but my parents never forced me. They literally waited for the moment that I said, hey, by the way, I want to learn an instrument. And that was when I was 12. So, and my first teacher was, by pure coincidence, principal trumpet of the Berlin State Opera, who would always teach me in the opera right before the evening performance. So listening to singers and seeing symphony orchestra, seeing people in wigs and costumes was very normal for me, actually from small age on through my mom. And when I was 15, one day it made click and I said, this is what I want to do. And I was listening to the overture of the opera Lohengrin by Richard Wagner. If you have not heard about this composer, that would be the first little note, Wagner, W-A-G-N-E-R. So, and the music is so magic and so incredibly beautiful that I couldn't stop getting goosebumps all over the place and all the time. And I went home and I was like, this is what I want to do. So, and then I studied in Berlin, did my master's in Berlin, did like a post degree, did auditions, learned how to do auditions and how to be successful with auditions, played for 2 years in an opera orchestra in a city called Bremen. And then I moved to Mexico. So was like, whoops, that was unexpected. Things happen in life. I moved to Mexico and I lived 15 years in Mexico, where I also played in several orchestras, had a long year, like 11 years professorship. in the oldest conservatory of the Americas, the Conservatorio de las Rosas, which was founded in 43, sorry. And I found it with a good friend of mine who's here today, by the way, Oscar Villegas, M5 Mexican Brass, which is a brass quintet that became quite successful. And we have played more than, I don't know, 1,500 concerts in 5 continents, 16 years later. And now I live in Atlanta. And this is maybe a good introduction to the story. So you guys, all you play trumpet, I suppose, and you do this because you love it. And you might have plans for your career. You might have ideas why you want to study music or why you want to play music. And guess what? These plans might change. These plans might become so much bigger than you can possibly imagine at this moment. Or these plans can go into a complete different direction. So my teachers were always great orchestra trumpet players. And of course, I think it's kind of a logical thing. For me, that was the goal. So the ideal was I want to play in an orchestra. So the first kind of 20 years of my career were all about that. They were all about becoming a great orchestra player. And I dove into this experience. And at some point, a new chapter opened, and it happened like when you read a book and suddenly somebody else gives you another book and you start reading that book, and it is actually more engaging than the one you were just reading, and you just switch over. And then I don't know if that has happened to you. So you just go on reading and you're, oh my God. And that happened to me with the chamber music thing. I never planned doing a chamber music career. Certainly there was no plan. And I think we all know who's the Canadian Brass, and we grew up with them. And so, but the idea of doing that and touring the world was so far away, you couldn't even imagine. However, it happened. And why did it happen? Because we were passionate about it, and we just didn't think about what would happen tomorrow. We would do it today. So, and I think the most important message that I want to give you guys today is do everything you can and take everything with you on the way that kindles your passion. So when you love what you do, automatically you will do it well, and you will do it better and better and better. Does that make sense? So make nothing more important than your passion. This is really, really, really one of the most important things. I just check one little thing here. We have some people who try to get in, and well, they should come in. Okay, well, here we are. Good. So passion is the very, very first thing. And when we talk about an instrument, like a performance, we have an instrument. This is how my trumpet looks funky. Other trumpets look different. One is gold plated, one is very raw, one is with piston valves, one is with rotary valves. It doesn't matter. You have your trumpet, it looks like it looks. And the trumpet, guess what, is every day the same. And the trumpet is just a tool. It is never about the trumpet. The trumpet is neutral. The trumpet works if you do the right things. So your job and my job is to learn what the right things are. Because then this trumpet is a wonderful instrument to make music. And this is what it's about. This is never about becoming a great trumpet player. It's about becoming a great musician. And therefore we do have to learn how the trumpet works. And I want to give you some hints about that. I want to give you some points, some checkpoints, you know, like check, green, 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 on which you want to work every day. So, and some of you are very young, some of you are already professionals, some of you are half professionals, or some of you study, some of you want to study. It doesn't matter. For me, it's the same thing every day as it is for you if you're 15 years old or if you're 12 years old. So we have to learn to create habits. And what that means, I give you a little example. If you go somewhere to Peru, into the jungle, and you go with a canoa, miles and miles and days and weeks, and somewhere deep in the jungle, you find a little village, And there are people who have never left that village, like a tribe. And you say, hello, extend your hand. My name is Alex. You know how they will react? They look at you like, what? Because giving the hand is a habit for me, but not for them. A habit is something that you do and do and do until you do it automatically, right? I think each of you, you meet someone, you give the hand, like not necessarily right now in COVID times, but this became a new habit. Hey, how's it going? Chikun, right? So habits create, and habits are something we don't have to think about. Now imagine if everything that has to do with the trumpet would be something you don't have to think about. Wouldn't that be cool? It just happens. Why? Because it's a habit. Because you have created a habit. How do you create a habit? By repetition of doing the right things. And I want to show you the right things. There are no secrets here, because first, there are no secrets. It's all physics and common sense. But if you create the wrong habits, they work as well as the good ones. So, and the most important thing that I have learned is that we learn to be efficient, that we learn to be really, that we can do less work with more result. So you want to be able to achieve in 1 hour what other people need 3 or 4 hours for. How cool would that be, right? Like, oh man, then you have extra time to do sports, you have extra time to paint, to go dancing, to go to the movies, to do what normal people do in normal times. That being said, right? Okay, so let's talk about music. If you go to a concert, what is the very first thing that calls your attention when you listen to somebody? And you can unmute yourself and just say it. Just say the word. What is the magic?
Sound.
It is sound. It is absolutely sound. And it is sound in the United States, it's sound in Mexico, it's sound in Germany and in Indonesia and in South Africa, in Namibia, everywhere you hear music, and the very first thing that connects with you is sound. So we will talk about sound, how to produce sound, and what kind of sound we want to produce. This is incredibly important, okay? So what is the second thing that catches your attention if there's sound? What's the second thing? Three, two, one. Bye, everybody. It is connection, flow. If you listen to a song and somebody sings, for instance, the anthem. If you listen, you go to football stadium, they play or sing the American anthem, and somebody would sing ah 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 ah. At first, it would be laughable, and second, everybody would like, what the hell is that, right? And you know why? Because it's not natural. It's not natural. Natural is to connect. So we're going to talk about connection. And the title of this masterclass is Music equals Sound and Flow. And this is what I want to this is like the formula I want to bring you back, because it's pretty simple. If you have no sound, nobody will care what you're able to do. But if you have no flow, not many people will care about your sound. And therefore, it's very important to understand how that works, okay? So let's talk about trumpet for a little bit. In order to produce sound, what do we have to do? Let's talk about physics. Well?
Produce air through your instrument, which creates sound waves that people hear and think are good automatically.
Okay, I heard half of it, but I believe you're spot on. We have to, something has to vibrate, right? So something has to vibrate. What vibrates? Very simple. The lips. For a singer, what vibrates with a singer? Vocal cords. Have you ever thought about that? Vocal cords, lips, that is a part of our body. So we have the privilege that a part of our body vibrates. For instance, if you take a saxophone or an oboe or a clarinet, but what is the part that vibrates? It's the reed, which is not a part of the body. It's a part of the instrument. For the string instrument, what vibrates? It's the chord, it's the string. What vibrates for the percussion? It's always the instrument. So the brass and the singers are the only instrumentalists where the body is the part that vibrates. And that is incredibly important because it is important that you guys understand how your body works. So what causes the vibration of the lips? Big quiz today. Ta-da, 3.
Air.
Yeah, the air. Yeah, exactly. So if there is no air, the trumpet sounds like this. So, and we all have heard that when a beginner starts playing the trumpet, or sometimes people after 5 years still play like that because they try to press and push sound out of the lips. In the moment there is air, it sounds like that. That sound goes into the mouthpiece. And that sound goes from the mouthpiece into the trumpet. Okay, so, which means instead of worrying so much about the lips, we should only think about the air. Not only, but we should mainly think about the air. So what does it mean to have good air? It means to have natural air. So can you all do this? Just do that. Can you feel that the air that comes in is cold? You can actually feel it here. So now do this. Imagine you have an egg in your mouth like this. And then you put the finger on your lips and you just do. That air is warm. It's warm air, and it's air that actually falls into your body by itself. So let's do this 4 times. Let's do 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so, and that is the first exercise I want you to do for 1 week every day. So you don't have to do anything. I suggest you do this for 1 day, for 1 week, every day, as often as you can. 200 times, 300 times, 500 times, 1,000 times. Every time you remember, you wait for a taxi, you wait for a bus, you watch TV, you go to whatever, a coffee, wait for a coffee, and you do. Or you sit in a class, online, teaching, you know, Zoom, music history. So every time you play something on the trumpet, in the moment the trumpet goes out of your face, you do. Why is that important? It is important because it creates maybe the most important habit, which is natural breathing. When you breathe naturally, you will blow the air naturally. If you breathe with tension, you will blow the air with tension. And if you blow the air with tension, how's your sound? Sounds like crap. There is no way that these lips can sound well if the air is pushed, right? I want to show you. It sounds, right? That's like pressure. But if you do, So this is very important, and it becomes incredibly natural. So just play with it. What I want to give you in this masterclass are some toys. Yeah. So I give you toys, and I want you to play with these toys, which means have fun. Don't be so serious about it. Be serious about it, but don't take it seriously. That's what I mean. Don't take it seriously, but be serious about it by just doing it. Okay. So I give you a rubber ball, and you have that rubber ball in your pocket all the time. That rubber ball is this exercise. You go to the school and you remember, oh, I have a rubber ball. And you put it back. This is when you sit down in front of your Zoom or WebEx or whatever you use. And in the moment you wait that the screen loads, you do, oh, screen hasn't loaded yet. You do it again. You see what I mean? Your rubber ball is a toy. That is a toy. The more often you use the toy, it will be absolutely natural when you take the trumpet to breathe naturally. And even if you play loud, it will never sound aggressive. It will never sound harsh, and it will never sound like you're working your ass off, because actually you're just breathing in and out. Imagine trumpet playing would be that easy. Isn't that pretty cool as an idea? Number one. So do breathing exercises, and I will follow up with you guys because I have your emails. I will send you something. I will send you just like a little resume and some, little resuming what I'm talking here. And so breathing exercises help for many things. Breathing exercises help, for instance, to make your whole capacity larger. They help to relax. They help to open up. They help to create the idea of what good air is. Let's say good air and bad air. What is bad air? Air with tension, or air that is weak. Weak would be this. There's no energy, Good air. Now comes the funny thing. We don't actually need much air for trumpet playing. But I want you to train to breathe well. And here's my idea. Imagine we play violin. This is a violin. And the bow could be like that. Da, 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 da. Or the bow could be 3 feet long. Does it make sense? I want you to imagine that you play a 3-bow violin. And I want to show you something. Have you guys heard all about the Arbonne Method? Jean-Baptiste Arbonne? Oh, that's not Arbonne. Give me a second. Wrong one. Arbonne is one of the most important methods for trumpet playing. If you don't know it, you should get to know it. So I'm going to share this. And I'm going to show you something very simple. First chapter. Like it starts here, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And where number 11 starts, that is like a whole chapter for itself, from 11 to 50. So now, if you play with a violin that has half a feet, or let's say a 6-inch bow, that would sound like this. Right? So how would it sound with the 3 feet in a 3 feet bow? So, and all I can tell you is it is that simple. Take the Arbonne book, take the first chapter, and just work number 11, number 12, number 13, and imagine your bow is 3 feet long, and you just connect. And we're already talking about connection here. So, and when you practice, anything you practice comfortable, practice natural, practice like when you're yawning, How is that? That is relaxing. It's not, nobody yawns like that. Of course not. Why? It's common sense, right? If you sigh, if there's something like, can you all sigh? Nobody hears you. Nothing embarrassing here. So nobody would sigh if you're alone. It's just not natural. So imagine trumpet playing is that simple. So you know when it becomes that simple? When you do this every day. It becomes a habit. And when it is a habit, you don't have to think about it. So first thing we talked about is this. Second thing we talked about is the 3 feet bow. Everything you do. So how do you connect articulations on the trumpet? Everybody has heard ta ta ta, right? Ta 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 ta. Can you all say ta ta ta? Ta 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 ta. Now say D D D D D D D. And here, ladies and gentlemen, is the big question of $1 million. Which one is better connected? Ta 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 or D D D? You see, it's pretty simple. Has nothing to do with that I'm German, you are American, or somebody else is from Guatemala. Ta 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 is a big tongue movement and cuts the air. D D D is a very small tongue movement and connects. So I want to show you that. If you practice, and it's just an example, whatever you practice, it doesn't matter. For instance, let's go to this exercise. If you play ta ta ta, it sounds like this. And if I play D D D, can you hear the difference? So this is what I mean with a good habit and a not so good habit. If you practice every day tat tat tat, that will be your habit. And you go to an audition, or you play a concert, or you play for your grandma, you will play tat 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 because you do it every day. If you do D D D and you breathe, you will get to a point where you will do that automatically. And then you go somewhere. Second, I'm gonna get the sound a little bit down when I'm playing. That helps. Whatever you play, you just breathe and connect. You know, just you breathe and it flows. It just flows because music is sound and flow. So we talked about 2 things. Now, what about the embouchure? Have you heard that word? The smaller ones of you? I think you have. That's what trumpet players love to talk about. Embouchure. Oh my God, I have a bad embouchure today. I feel really bad on my lips. So everybody thinks and talks about that. But actually, we just learned that the lips and the embouchure, that's the second step after the air. So if you fix the air, you fix the embouchure. And there are 2 things I suggest to you guys. You can't play the trumpet if your lips are wide open, like tuba. Ooh. You play the trumpet with very little air, actually, with constant air. And imagine your lips are almost together, almost together. So a good exercise, a really amazing, and I want to show you some exercises. We don't have much time to get deep into exercise and stuff, but an amazing exercise is you take your mouthpiece, you play a scale, major scale down, major scale up, the arpeggio down and the arpeggio up, and you imagine that while you go down, your lips go closer together, like this. This is like the aperture, right? So what I'm doing is, I'm focusing, and then I leave it where it is, and I play the rest of the exercise with that setup. So I don't do all these changes. So look at this here. So, and when you think about doing this, exactly this will happen because you do it every day. Might not work the first day, might not work after 1 week, might maybe not even work after 1 month. But if you think about doing this, you focus, and then you keep it, this will exactly be the way you play. Does that make sense? So, and it could be any exercise you play, anything. Just think about you focus. So instead of you open when you go down, you focus, and then you just keep it there. So, I want to show you something, and that leads us to the fourth thing. This was 3 octaves with exactly the same setup. How does that work? It works because that's what you try to do. Everything you try to do will come out. Believe me, trust me. So if you just play in order to play, whatever comes out. But if you want to sound beautiful, and you have this idea here, you will sound beautiful. If you do this 500 times every day, you will breathe absolutely natural. If you play fortissimo every day, then this will be normal for you. If you play comfortable and with quality every day, this will be normal. Does it make sense? Okay, cool, awesome, wonderful. So, first thing, second thing, 3-feet bow. Third thing, the aperture goes together and focused. And the fourth thing is we have to learn to speed up air. What is the difference between low notes and high notes on the trumpet? It's the speed of the air. So, and some of you guys will ask yourself, so yeah, but how I do this? So speed does not mean much air. So the old fashioned thing is when I play up, I push a lot of air and it gets really loud and it gets really ugly. So, but actually it's just faster. It's not more. Can you do all with F? And now put the 5 fingers of one hand on your abdomen, like below the ribs, right here. Okay, and now do the same with S. Do you notice the difference? S is at least twice as fast as F. It's like you throw a paper airplane or you throw a dart. And that is the difference between a G and a G. Or a C and a C. It was even faster. The air was faster than the C. That's why the next note came in. And this is how the trumpet works. So if you every day think about these 4 things and you just think about them and you just do everything, you can play your exercises, you can your teacher's exercises, you can play along with the radio, you can improvise, you can do whatever you want. But if you think about these 4 things, you will become a better trumpet player every day, and everything will be absolutely natural. So let's put that together. Number 1, do this every time you remember. We forget things, don't we? Damn it, we do. So write it down. Write down. I put this in the in the chat. You can have a look. So number 1 is air in the exercise. OH. I write that on a big paper. OH, and put it on the music stand. And every time I see OH, I do. O is the shape, right? And H is the air. So with a finger. Let's do this again 4 times. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Make sense? Okay. So you do this 500 times a day. I write down 500 times because everybody gets scared when they see this. Just do it as often as you can. I swear to you, after 1 week, you're a different player. Okay? Number 2, violin with a 3-feet bow. Just imagine that is your trumpet playing. So it doesn't matter if you play in the marching band, it doesn't matter if you play in a church, it doesn't matter if you play scales, it doesn't matter if you're a beginner or if you're professional. If your violin has a 3-feet bow, everything will be connected. If your violin has a 2-inch bow, does it make sense? Just think about huge bow. And the bow doesn't have to be with pressure. It's not, it's just long. It's just a long bow. So, and it's not about the exercise. It's about how to do it. Okay, number 3. So your lips, or let's call it like this. Embouchure. Embouchure. Focused. Aperture closed. Okay. Aperture closed, of course, is stupid because if the lips are closed, nothing will happen. But in the moment you blow air through the closed lips, they're open. Yeah? So what I mean is, just think it's going together instead of open. And just by thinking that, it will happen. So I don't want to make that too complicated today, but it's when you do, for instance, for the more advanced of you, you do stamp exercise. Just think. The most focused note is the lowest, right? So, and if you think that, it will create the habit. So, and number 4, what was number 4? Who remembers? Is the air speed. Air speed. So, high notes, fast, low notes, slow, or not so fast. Okay, so, and the easiest thing to think about it is like F and S. For instance, a scale. What's the difference between the beginning and the end? That's the only difference. So think about that, remember that, and do this when you play the trumpet. So actually high and low doesn't exist. It's fast and slow. Does anybody have a question about that? Cool.
Alex, I have a question.
Yes.
What, could you tell us about the overtones?
Yes. Wonderful. Great. If you read the course description, I talked about this. So let's talk about sound. What is a beautiful sound? And I want you, would be nice if everybody could participate. I want you to say one word that describes your perfect sound idea. Riz.
Sparkling.
Sparkling. Tristan.
Emotional.
Emotional. Mia.
Smooth.
What was that?
Smooth.
Smooth. Okay. Oscar.
Warm.
Warm. James.
Warm.
James. You have to unmute yourself, James. Oh, no, he's gone. He got scared. No. James, what describes your favorite sound?
I don't know. It just makes a lot of sense in my ear when I hear it. Like the tones complement each other, I guess.
Okay, try to find one word that describes that. Or a color. Is it blue? Is it red? Is it yellow? Is it green?
I don't know. I guess it's smooth.
Smooth. Yeah, smooth is good. Smooth is a texture, right? So we describe, have you ever thought about that? We describe sounds with colors, with textures, or with adjectives, emotional adjectives. Via. Huh.
Calidad.
Connect.
Calidad, okay, which is quality. Sage.
Solid or full.
Full, solid, okay. Rodrigo. I think Rodrigo is gone. Annabelle? No.
Consistent.
Can you say it again?
Consistent.
Consistent, okay. Christian. Christian's gone too. Leah?
Connected.
Connected. Arjana?
Warm.
Wild?
No, warm.
Oh, warm, okay. Wild is good too. Warm. And Daniel?
Serene.
Can you say it again?
Serene.
Serene, okay. So you see, everybody has actually quite different description, but this is so important. If you, and friends like James, play with that for yourself, find something that describes your sound. And I give you some ideas. Because this is the screen of your computer and this is the software. Whatever you put in comes out, believe me. So if I think I want to play bright, that's what the sound is. And if I think warm, low, that's what the sound is. If I think about sparkling, it sounds bzzz, because that's what sparks do, right? They have this bzzz, 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 sparkling. They just spark. That's what sparks do. So if I think purple, deep purple, it's funny, deep purple. It's a very full-bodied purple color sound. If I think orange, I have no clue if you guys can hear the difference on Zoom because Zoom kind of cuts it out. However, if you try that for yourself, you will be surprised how different your sound is just by what you think. If I try to play like a clarinet, We have an idea how a clarinet sounds. If I want to play like an oboe, everything changes. Not only the dynamics, the articulation changes. So my invitation for you guys is, when you play something, imagine how you want to sound. And you can say it to yourself. I want to sound, let me show you an example. Different example. This is something we can also go to. Give me 1 second. This one. If you have not heard about that, Concone, get this book. Giuseppe Concone. This was a voice teacher for singers, for opera singers. Looks like this. Concone. Important book to have. And it's just lyrical studies. Some of them are really easy, like this one, you see. Like for beginners, anybody can play that. It's not technical, it's nothing about, it's just about playing beautifully. And then when you go deeper into it, it gets a little more complicated, a little more notes, you see, da 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 da, a little more complex, longer, 2 pages, some of 3 pages. And the first one are just like 4 lines, whatever. And I want to show you something. I want to take something really easy, really simple. And Oscar, I come back to the overtones, okay? So let's take this one. Number 1, I want to play trumpet. And so on. But now I want to play clarinet. Now I play violin. And now I'm an opera singer. I have no idea if that sounded different for you guys, but it sounds very different here. So, and it only sounds different because I changed the software. Does it make sense to you guys? Does anybody has a question about that? No? Common sense? So it's very important. Why is it important? We talk about habits here. So if you do every day practicing without thinking about that, you will create the habit that it's indifferent. It doesn't matter. It sounds however it sounds. But if you have a very clear idea how you want to sound, you will sound like that. Believe me. Okay, so different thing. Overtones. What are overtones? Does anybody have an idea? Okay. Have you, and I want to show that to you. Actually, we can do this. Go to the piano. Go to the piano. I'm going to sit down at the piano. And I hold the, like I hold the right pedal, the one that, you know, so it stays. You all know how piano works. So I'm going to do a B flat because we have a B flat trumpet. Can you hear that? Do you hear other notes than the one I played? You can't hear it? Damn it. Zoom. Let me see. I put you into the piano. Give me a second. Did you hear something? Okay, complete failure. Okay, try that. Try that at home. So what you do, you push the right pedal down and play a C. And then you listen which notes you hear. And you will hear. You will hear all the partials on the trumpet, the ones that you can play with the same finger position. They all sound in the piano because these are the overtones. Each sound has 12 overtones. I only have 10 fingers. But 12 overtones sound with each sound if it's a healthy sound. Healthy means it's free, it's natural, it has all the vibration. It has all these colors that you guys have been describing. If it's not healthy, we could say it's a mute sound. It sounds like this, you know, when you talk, and it's just like, it's dumb, it's dull, it's dead. It does not have all the 12 overtones. Maybe it only has 3 or 4. It sounds like this. It has wrinkles. It's a sound with wrinkles. And it's worried, it's preoccupied, it's fearful, and it's not free. And if I take the wrinkles away, you can hear that maybe. It gets a spark. Somebody said spark. Zzz. Imagine you have a full body sound which has a zzz on it. These are the overtones. And what you need for overtones is fast air and closed embouchure. You need to get your lips together. If your lips are too open, there is no way that you can produce a sound with overtones. So that's why this is very important, really, really important. Somebody's, I can't hear the piano. Perfect. Well, that experiment went. Okay. Does that make sense to everybody? Does somebody have a question about that?
Are overtones produced on out-of-tune notes?
Can you say that again?
So like, do overtones happen when like someone is playing out of tune?
Good question. When somebody plays out of tune, there are 2 reasons for being out of tune. One is you are really out of tune. I mean, really out of tune, right? Look at that. That's half a note. I mean, that's really out of tune. But you can be out of tune because you're really not in tune with the instrument. Or you can be out of tune if there is no quality in your sound. So, for instance, talking about color, we talk about colors here. D, always sounds flat. E has that little bzz in it. And the bzz, these are overtones. And if you have overtones, imagine you have 12 overtones here and 12 here. They do this. They catch up. If there are 12 here and there are 3 here, what catches up? Well, there's not much to catch up, right? So that's why people play out of tune very often, because the sound is not free. Again, and then I finish with that stuff. That's the trumpet nerd portion, and then we could talk about the real stuff. If you have a healthy, natural breathing, 1, 2, 3, that air will cause that your lips vibrate naturally with overtones. And if you train that your aperture is closed, there will be even more overtones. And it sounds like, I want to show that to you with another example. Let's take like a random conconish study. For instance, this one, number 10. And I try to do everything that I was been talking about. I want you, can you see my face still? Yeah, good. Watch how I breathe when I play. Listen to the color of the sound as much as we can hear on Zoom. And listen to the connection, okay? Oh, sorry. B flat, wow. So you always breathe. You always play 3-feet bow. You always think that each new entrance is like this. And the difference between that F and that F is the air is twice as fast than here. That's it. And if in your exercises and in your warm up and in the marching band and in the school band and in the jazz band and in playing songs for fun, you think about these things and you have an idea how you want to sound, then this will happen. And I sign that check for you. It will happen. It is inevitable. You know the Matrix movies? It's the sound of inevitability. Mr. Anderson. It's very, very, very important. Very important that you know why you do certain things on the trumpet. So now let's talk about music. What is phrasing? Has somebody of you an idea? What is phrasing? What does that mean actually? It's going.
A sense of line and flow. Where are you leading things? What's your target point?
Exactly.
What's going to be the high point of the music? Yeah.
Yeah, a sense of direction, a sense of going from A to B. And guess what? When you travel from A to B, everything that is between A and B is just on the way. So, and if there's a high note or a low note or an interval or a scale or a long or a short note, it's just on the way. So it's not about the high note, it's not about the short note, it's about from A to B. Let's do that with a scale. Dum, ba, 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 ba. So it's not about the B or the C or the D, it's about from G to G. And actually, in the moment you go walking over the fields and you walk and walk and walk and you see the village where you're going to, you relax. So very short before the end, you just relax. Yam ba 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 bee. So, and that is phrasing. And your task as a musician is, when you become more mature, that your phrases get as long as possible. As long as possible. Which means you take a pencil, and I show you an example. Take a pencil, you take your piece, whatever you want to play. Let's for instance like this one. Take a pencil and you look, okay, where's A? Well, A is where you start, right? Okay, where's B? Da, dee, dee, da, 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 dee, da, dee. In this phrase, those 3 bars, where's B? Dee, da, dee, dee, da, da, dee, da, da. Is it this B? Is it this B flat? Or is it this D? Somebody has an idea?
D.
It's the D. Look, I'm going to show you. Sometimes you would think, oh, this is A and this is B. How would that sound? Sounds strange, right? So let's make it about this D. So everything which comes after B relaxes again. So, and this is what we call a phrase. However, this is just a short phrase. A long phrase, if we see, okay, how far does this go? Ya da 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 dee dee da da dee la da da dee da da da. So this whole phrase here, look, goes to this E. How would that sound? Or is it about the A flat? You see, you can play with that. And what I want to encourage you is, like, when you play a piece, that you take a pencil and you sing what you're going to play and you make a circle. Okay, where do I go? And then you just go there and then you relax. And you might have made the circle on the wrong spot. You will immediately notice. Do this as long as you can. You can do phrases of 8 bars, of 12 bars, of 16 bars. You can do phrases of the whole piece, but there's always somewhere you want to go. And that creates musical flow. And then you have sound and flow and connection. And everything you do, the simplest piece, the easiest piece, will be very attractive to listen to, will be very, very beautiful, and it will call people's attention. And people will turn around and say, who is that person playing the trumpet? Who is that? You know, these Hollywood movies, the trumpet solo is always like this military thing. From the famous Lincoln one, or this was like Dances with Wolves, or there's always like some very lyrical trumpet playing in the back, and you listen to it and it's like, it's magic. Why is it magic? Because it's all about flow. And this is very, very important, very, very important, that you make everything that has to do with the trumpet about the music and not about the trumpet. And the earlier you start doing that, the more normal and natural this will be. So, and then something incredible happens. Everything is fun. It's never like you're struggling against a piece of metal. No, the piece of metal is just a tool. And this is basically my message for you guys. And I don't know, if you have any question, that would be like a good moment now. I can talk a little bit about what I do at Georgia State University if you want. Or I can talk about anything else. Ta-da. No specific question?
I have a question.
Yes, please.
So with the breathing, does it ever change with like the tempo? So like the faster tempos, is it still the same breathing technique?
1, 2, 3. 1,
Okay.
2, 3. Look, each piece starts with the first note, right? And the first note is the hardest note. 1. piece is, or, you know, it doesn't matter. It is always a first note, and you do 1, 2, 3, or you do 1, 2, 3. That is what changes. The rhythm goes with the character of the piece. But you never have a break in between breathing and playing, ever. If that becomes a habit, then you're on the safe side. You're really on the safe side, and you can play. If everything is against you, it will sound beautiful. Okay, well, if there are no really questions, then I'm at Georgia State University since 2018, so it's in my 3rd year, and in those 3, not even 3 years, like 2.5 years, we have had 22 guest artists. I really emphasize that because I think it's very important. For like in this semester, which now everything is virtual, we have a guest artist every 2 weeks, and so we have had guest artists from all over the place. I had the most stunning soloist from Great Britain, Hugh Morgan. I had the principal trumpet of the Berlin State Opera, Rainer Auerbach. I had one of the most celebrated soloists, Rex Richardson. I had one of the really most successful trumpet teachers of the United States, Richard Stölzel, who teaches McGill University in Montreal. I had Stuart Stevenson, the principal from the Atlanta Symphony. I had Jeff Smith, who played with Maynard Ferguson when he was young, and who was the principal of the Jalapa Symphony in Mexico. The list goes on. The list goes on. We had Vince DiMartino 2 weeks ago, who you might know. We had Peter Bond from the Metropolitan Opera end of January. So, and why I'm saying that to you is like, because I think it's very important that when you guys think about going to university, think about 2 things. Everybody thinks about, okay, where do I get the biggest scholarship? I understand that. Let's not talk about that shit. I mean, I know. Think about, does the person who teaches there click with you? Does that work with you? Is that attractive to you? Because if you do go somewhere, imagine you're gonna work 4 years together with that person. That's number one. Number 2 is, what's the proposal? What's the offer, right? So, and there are amazing universities, and I'm not trying really to pitch this thing here, because it's common sense for any place you go. Okay, some universities have amazing facilities. Some universities have a great band program. Others have a great orchestra program. Others have whatever, you know, are in a really beautiful town. Others are really cheap. Others have really kick-ass scholarships. And I think the most important thing will always be, who is your teacher? Who is your teacher? And you should, actually it's great what you guys do. You should get to know your teacher. You should take a lesson with your teacher. And like also personal, just reach out. If somebody of you wants, just reach out. You get a free Zoom class. And other people do that too. So, and this whole guest artist thing for me is very important, because I think it's very important that you get many different perspectives. And this is what I've been establishing here at Georgia State University. We have in the trumpet studio, we have students from Spain, from Canada, from Mexico, from Georgia, from other parts of the United States, from like one guy from Washington State. Next semester, we're gonna have a guy from Brazil coming in, from Puerto Rico, blah, blah, blah. So it's an international thing. And I think this is very important too, because, well, what is our world? We have an international world. It's like your country is international. Everything is international. So, and the more mixed things are, yeah. And I had in the 2.5 years, I had 5 girls playing the trumpet, which is normal. It was not normal 20 years ago. Today, it's completely normal that girls play the trumpet. Why wouldn't they? So I had a master's student graduating from Mexico. She graduated in December, and blah 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 blah. So I really want to invite you, if you're interested, if this little class was, I don't know, interesting, attractive to you, reach out to me. I'm going to send you 2 things in the chat. You can just copy that. First thing is my email. If you want, just write me. And the second thing is, I have a group on Facebook. Just have to open Facebook for a moment. It's a group. It's my private. It's not. I have a GSU group, but that is more like for the students that are at GSU. I have a group that is an open group, and it's called Trumpet Studio Alex Freund. And you're very welcome to check that out. I just put the link in the chat. And this is a group to share things. So if you need materials, you go there, you go to archives, you can download hundreds of PDFs. If you want to know when a masterclass or a festival is, you go there, I share. If you want to see some very extraordinary videos, you go there. If you want to blah, blah, blah. It's a connection group, you know? I know there's other things, but that is what I offer you. There are about 3,000 people from all over the world in that group that at some point took a masterclass with me or with my colleagues from M5 over the last 16 years. And basically, drop your questions or I would wish you a very good night. We don't have to make this artificially long. I'm very passionate about sound. Sound is for me personally much more interesting than fast fingers. Fast fingers are necessary if you want to play pieces. Yeah, I'll give you an example. Oh, by the way, this is the group. Funny photo this time. Okay, good. Where is it? Ta-da. Here it is. Let's go to this Concone thing again. Share. Here we go. So the first ones are very slow, and then they get a little bit faster. And then they get a little bit more rhythmical. For instance, let me show you one. At some point in music, you see, you need to play fast notes. But they will never be more important than beautiful sound. And so on. Fast notes at some point are just, well, if you sing in a choir, at some point you sing louder, at some point you sing higher, at some point you sing longer. For instance, if you do stuff like that. But it's never about the fast stuff. It's always about making the fast stuff sound as beautiful as the slow stuff. And if this is what you think about when you practice the trumpet, then you will achieve a wonderful musical quality, and especially you will be very happy with what you do. You will be very passionate about. And what I suggest to you, and just write that little message here, work on Arbonne, first chapter, number 11 to number 50, with the 3-feet bow. As simple as it is, just do that. Make it sound natural, make it sound connected, make it sound just free, comfortable, healthy, juicy, whatever the word as you want to, consistent, sparkling, warm, smooth, all these beautiful descriptions you had. So, and you do this until it sounds like that. It's pretty simple. And did I forget something? I probably forgot a lot of things, but I mean, that would be another 2 hours. You guys are good? Cool. It's a big pleasure to meet you, everybody of you who I have not met. Don't be shy, reach out if you're interested. I'm sitting here in Atlanta, but as everything is on screen right now, it doesn't really matter, right? You can reach out if somebody's interested. I offer free classes if you want to get to know how I'm working, if you want to know more about GSU, whatever. And you can just look up also this group in Facebook. There's really, really cool information for you. Yeah, and anything else? I hope we get to know each other very soon. Mia, if you want, I'm still here. Just send me an email. Yeah, and everybody else of who will audition on March 12th, go for it. Go for it. It's fun. It's fun to play music. It's actually a big privilege. It's not always easy. I mean, but what is easy? Is it easy to work in an office from 8 to 6? I don't think so. Like, it's easy. Everything is about passion, and making music is about passion. So make it about passion, and then you will be fine. Okay. I wish you a beautiful night. Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.